This is the Avera 50-inch 1080p HD TV sold on Amazon for 2015 Black Friday at a price of $150. For those of you who are wondering, that's the website where you can grab more information. We'll go ahead and do a quick rundown of features, the physical look and performance on different settings on this 50-inch Avera TV. The shipment came, as you can see here, wrapped on the outside with some styrofoam. Otherwise, it's in its original box. This set does 1080p at 60 Hz. It has several inputs, a base amount, 18 months of warranty, Energy Star certified, and for some reason, for the first time this set is being sold in America, and they've already decided to slap on an America's Choice seal on it, even though they've never sold in America before 2015. It's a very front-heavy TV, so although it's thin, it likes to tip forward, so you gotta watch out when you unbox this. The packaging comes with these feet, which are metal reinforced, and of course they don't include any HD components, just standard definition RCA cables and a universal remote and manuals. Here's the energy guide. They're basing it on 11 cents per kilowatt, which is correct for most American households that are not on the coast. 5 hours of use a day will result in $20.50 of your electric bill in a year, or about 186 kilowatt hours. We'll go over the external features first. You can tell an inconvenience right off the bat. The feet sit pretty far apart near the edges. That will make it more stable. Unfortunately, it doesn't give you much room here, just about enough to get an index finger in there to push these buttons if you have to physically control these. The screen is glossy. It's not a matte finish. Well, I believe it will be a downfiring TV. We'll go ahead and turn it around and set it up. It is not very well put together. You have this bump out with the VESA mount back here made of plastic. I believe this is plastic as well. You can see between the seams here, there seems to be some sort of plastic or wire that got caught when they were screwing everything together. Doesn't give you much confidence. And it looks like they had another design here for a mount that would stick down here and come straight down. So this is definitely a reused body that they've acquired from somewhere. So this is the 50 AER10 model, 50-inch. Power consumption of 120 watts during use. And let's look at the inputs here. We have power, and you have a headphone audio jack, coaxial out, and then you have your standard component cables. You have your HDMI 1, an MHL HDMI, an ARC HDMI, a VGA, your antenna input, and a USB. So here is the remote. Looks like a generic universal remote. There is no model number listed inside of the remote. It does include a couple of AAA batteries from a brand I've never heard of. It's mercury cadmium. The manuals come in Spanish and English. Seems to prefer Spanish over English. I'll look at the user manual to see if there's anything interesting in there first. Well, I've already made a mistake and I wasn't aware of it. I was supposed to place the TV face down before attaching the feet. So the remote is definitely an IR blaster, and then it does tell you that you can use certain codes. So for Comcast or DirecTV cable remotes, use that code. AT&T, Dish, RCA. It's also odd that they refer to this TV as VidAO TV in the user manual. According to the user manual, it's a 200 by 200 Visa mount, and the USB port supports up to 400 gigabytes of storage that will be recognized for MP3 and JPEG. One input I missed when going over the TV is that there is actually a PC audio in when you use VGA. It's right next to the VGA port right there. So you can hook your VGA cable up to your laptop and then plug in the audio. And the audio down here is still for output. And the last thing to cover from the manual is that this has a brightness of 200 candela rather than 250 or 350 for most modern sets. And it has two 8-watt downfiring speakers, and it weighs about 35 pounds. You can tell the LED is very bright. There's no diffuser on that front LED for a power indicator. There's some diffusion of the reflected light. It's not exactly a mirror, but you can tell in a brightly lit environment you'll be able to see a reflection. We'll see how that fares in dark scenes when we have content going on the TV. A very bright splash screen. So this is the Apple TV 4th generation. It's not too bad. In all honesty, this TV looks great, crisp and clear. Let's make sure it's on 1080p. The speakers definitely can't even handle the switching of the menu. You can hear it crackling. It just can't handle the high audio output. So according to the Apple TV, we are zoomed in, so we need to mess with the video settings first. So we just turned overscan off, and now we have full screen showing down there. So this was the zoom setting you can see in the background. Normal is what we should usually leave it at. So we have the difference between graphic and video. We'll do a direct mapping of pixels point to point. So this is how it breaks down. Whatever you do in advanced settings will carry over to all the other inputs, but whatever you use for your regular picture mode here is remembered per input. So it's separate for each input. So you can tweak this if you want to use a custom user and you save this, it'll remember it. But anything you do for your advanced settings, that'll carry over to every input. Oddly, they don't seem to give you a way to actually set the date on your TV. It starts in 2013. Not sure why. It is true. You can definitely see grain. From far away it's fine, but up close you can basically see every pixel. If you touch it just like a computer's monitor, you're pushing directly against the LCD from the plastic screen. It's nothing like a retina screen. But from far away, once you get a yard or two away, you cannot really tell.
One of my brightest and best. And what I'm offering, you have to
I'll show you the black contrast here. Here's the black lines.
The chance to build cathedrals, entire cities, things.
And when we switch the scene, you'll see the black
in the real world.
in the background.
Want me to let someone else?
So the contrast is very good. Black actually does reach a good deep level. And I can turn the TV off so you can tell what actual black is on this TV. In 3, 2, 1. And we'll turn it back on. And there's a black line here. So let's do that again. But black is true black. It's not gray washed out like it is on other TVs. So we are streaming live TV right now. I don't see any issues with this display right now. Just these speakers. For $150, I can't really complain.
I've done it before. What'd you do it to?
So at 50% volume, it sounds like regular office computer speakers. Not loud enough for a living room at all. Barely loud enough for a bedroom. So we're going to crank it up a little more. At 75% volume.
Never did like your office, did you?
No space to think in that broom cupboard.
That's about loud enough for a bedroom, but not a living room.
Is it safe for you to be here?
It's very high-pitched and tinny.
Extradition between France and the United States is a bureaucratic nightmare, you know that?
And once you
I
get
think they might
past
find a way to make it work.
75%, it starts crackling.
Drop these for you to give to the kids when you have a chance.
It'll take more than the occasional stuffed animal to convince those children they still have a father.
I had to go grab a USB drive and a laptop that has a VGA output. So we'll test those now. So this should trigger the USB drive, which is formatted as FAT32. It has some JPEG files at 1080, 1920 by 1080, and one royalty-free music file. The black levels on this TV are very good, actually. It's a bit oversaturated. Every time I want to switch input, I have to choose the input, then hit OK, otherwise it won't switch on its own. So this is a YouTube royalty-free. These are the only controls down here at the bottom. So this PC, or sorry, this TV will set itself to 1080. So the supported resolutions are 1080p, 1680 by 1050, 1600 by 900, 1440 by 900, 1400 by 1050, 1366 by 768, 1360 by 768, 1280 by 1024. Just to prove it, let's go ahead and switch it. So I've lost my mouse. This is 1280 by 1024, right there in the middle. 1280 by 960, 1280 by 800, 1280 by 768, 1280 by 720, 1280 by 600, 1152 by 864, 1024 by 768, and 800 by 600. It's definitely usable if you want to use this as a computer monitor. That's crisp enough that you could definitely use this as a monitor if you want. I wouldn't recommend it, but it's usable. So I have noticed there is some vignetting in the corners here. It's just a little bit darker. You might be able to tell now when it focuses. So let's test the audio as well. I have the audio cable plugged in from the laptop into the TV. Okay, so we have sound coming through. I don't own any equipment to test input lag, so we're just going to use the PlayStation 4. We'll go ahead and use a multiplayer match in Star Wars Battlefront. So it'll be a very subjective test. No numbers, nothing objective about this. It's just going to be, can I detect an input lag? Can I tell if it's the TV or the Wi-Fi? Do we see any shadowing? That's what we're looking for now. So we're running the PS4 at 1080p, 60 Hertz. So I'll call out when I'm pulling the trigger. Pull, 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 pull. There's really no noticeable lag at all. So the main drawbacks that I've found with this Avera 50-inch TV, the pixels that you can clearly see if you're closer than 3 feet. There's a little bit of vignetting on the sides, not too bad. The brightness doesn't go as high as other TV sets, but I'm sitting right underneath a fluorescent light. And it doesn't bother me. It's plenty bright enough. And the speakers are very weak, very tinny, rather than a full range bass and mid TV speaker that you would expect. Other than that, $450 for a 50-inch TV LED has no discernible input lag or visible trails that works well for gaming. It's a great buy.